Hello everyone, let's solve a puzzle in this video. The question we have is, in a kindergarten class, the teacher was teaching the alphabet to the children in his class. He devised an exercise in which he called each child and asked him or her to write the letter with which his or her name begins. That means the first letter of his or her name on the board. The first child writes the first letter of his name anywhere on a board which was initially blank. From the second child onwards, they have to write the letters based upon the following rules. So basically there's an empty board. A teacher is calling a particular child and asking him or her to write the first letter of his or her name on the blackboard which is initially blank. So the first child will come and write down the first letter of his or her name on the blackboard. After that, the second child that is coming, he also has to write the first letter of his or her name on the blackboard. But how? Let us read the rules. If the first letter of the child's name comes alphabetically before the letter written by the first child, then the child has to write the first letter of his or her name to the left of the letter that the first child wrote. So let us assume that the first child is writing letter L. Then if the second child is coming, and let us say that if the first letter of his name is starting from A, then definitely he has to write the first letter of his name to the left of L. That means he'll write A over here. So that is what we have been told in this particular statement, the first one. Let us read the second one. Otherwise, the child has to write the first letter of his or her name to the right of the letter that the first child wrote. So we assume that L is the letter that the first child is writing. So if the second child that is coming, his first letter is coming after L in the alphabetical order, let us assume it is P, then he'll definitely be writing P over here. He cannot write this P to the left of L. So basically all the letters that are alphabetically after L, they'll be written to right of L. All the letters that are alphabetically before L, they'll be written to the left of L. And we always have to compare all the letters with the first letter that was written on the blackboard. Then after that, any child except for the first child who writes a letter on the board always writes it either to the immediate left of the leftmost letter on the board or to the immediate right of the rightmost letter on the board based upon the above mentioned rule. So basically this is saying the same. Let us assume that there is some fourth child coming and the first letter of his name is from, let us say, T. Then he'll definitely be writing it over here. That means to the rightmost end over here. Then if there's a child who is coming and his letter starts from O, then he'll be writing it over here because O is coming after L. So basically we have to compare everything with this first letter that was written. So I hope the rules are clear. If there's a child who is coming and his letter is alphabetically before L, let us say B, then he'll be writing it to the leftmost end. So that is what the second point is saying. So let us try to solve the questions. The first question is, if after each of the 10 children wrote a letter on the board, the 10 letters from left to right spelled BALJMP. So this is the letter that is becoming after 10 children are writing down the first letter of their names. Which of the following can be the name of the child that wrote the first letter on the board? So let me write down. This is the word that is becoming after all these children are writing down the first letter of their names. So in the options we have Jatin, Manoj, Pawan, Omar. So we basically have to check if the first letter that was written on the board, it was J or M or P or O. So we'll check only for J, M, P and O. So if you assume that J was the first letter that was written, and if we look to the left of J, then we can see that we have an L over here, but alphabetically L comes after J. So L must have been written to the right of J. So L must have been written to the right of J, but it is on the left of L. So that means J cannot be the first letter that was written. Then let us check for the second option, that is M. So if M is the first letter that was written, if we look towards the left of M, then we have J which comes before M, so it is correct. So then we have L, L comes before M, so it will be to the left of M. Then A also comes before M, B also comes before M. If we look at the right end, so P comes after M, so yes, it is written to the right. O also comes after M, so it is written to the right. S comes after M, written on the right. T, R both come after M and they have been written on the right. So that means yes, M can be the first letter that was written on the board. That means the first letter of the first child. Then let us check for P. If P was the first letter that was written, And if we look to the right of P, we have O, but we know that O comes before P, so it must have been written to the left of P. So that means this is also incorrect. P cannot be the first letter that was written on the board. Then at last we have Omar, that means we'll check for O. So if O was the first letter written, if we look to the left of O, we have P, and we know that P comes after O. So P should be to the right of O, not left of O. So even this is wrong. So only one letter is satisfying all the rules over here, that is M. So option B will be the correct answer. The name of the first child will be Manoj because his name will be starting from M. Then the second question is, if after 7 children wrote on the board the 7 letters from left to right spelled RHCASLT. So RHCASLT, which out of the following was the 5th letter to be written on the board? So to find out the 5th letter that was written on the board, first of all we have to find out the first letter that was written on the board. So can R be the first letter written on the board? No, because H should be to the left of R, but it is on the right of R, so R cannot be the first letter. If we look at H, then R comes after H, but R has been written to the left of H, so even H cannot be the first letter. If we look at C, then R comes after C, but it is to the left of C, even C cannot be the first letter written. If we look at A, C comes after A, so it should be to the right of A, but it is to the left of A, so even this cannot be the first letter written. If we look at S, then if we look to the right of S, we have L to the right of S, but we know that L comes before S, so L should be to the left of S, but L over here is to the right of S, so even S cannot be the first letter written. If we look at L, and if we look to the left of L, we have S over here, but S comes after L, so it should be to the right of L, not left of L, so even L cannot be the first letter written. If we look at T, then R also comes before T, H comes before T, C, A, S, L, they all come before T, so that means this was the first letter written, because all the letters are coming before T and they are to the left of T, so T will be the first letter written. And since now all the letters are coming before L, so the first letter that will be written, that will be T, second letter will be L, third letter will be S, because we know that all the letters that are coming, if they are lesser than T, if they are coming before T, they will be written to the leftmost end, so we will keep writing letters to the leftmost end now. So L will be the second letter, S will be the third letter, A will be the fourth letter, fifth letter will be C, so option B will be the correct answer here. Let us see the third question now. If after 7 children wrote on the board the 7 letters from left to right spelled JFPQUTR, which of the following cannot be the first letter of the name of the third child to write on the board? So now we have to find out the first letter of the name of the third child. So the letter written was J, then after that we have F, P, Q, U, T and R. So to find out the first letter of the third child, we have to work to find out the first letter of the first child. So if we look at J, J cannot be the first letter because to the right of J we have F and F should come to the left of J, so J cannot be the first letter. If we look at F, then J comes after F, so that means J must be to the right of F, so even F cannot be the first letter. If we look at P, then to the left of P we have all letters which come before P, and to the right of P we have all the letters that come after P, so P can be the first letter of the first child. If we look at for Q now, then to the left of Q we have all the letters that come before Q, to the right of Q we have all the letters that come after Q, so even Q can be the first letter of the first child. If we look at U over here, then to the left of U we have all the letters that come before U, and if we look to the right of U we have TR, but TR come before U, they should be to the left of U, so U cannot be the first letter of the first child. If we look at T, then R is to the right of T, but R comes before T, so R should be to the left of T, not right of T, so even T cannot be the first letter. Then if we look at this R over here, we can see that to the left of R we have U, but U comes after R, so it should be to the right of R, not left of R, so even R cannot be the first letter. So T cannot be the answer, R cannot be the answer, J cannot be the answer, so more than one of the above, this will be the answer. Let's try to solve the last question now. So the last question says that after 6 children wrote on the board the first, the third and fifth letter from the left and are STR respectively. So 6 children are writing. We'll make 6 spaces. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. The first, third, fifth letter are STR. So STR will come over here. Then if the first letters of the names of the children were distinct and the first letter of the name of the first child to write on the board was theta, how many possibilities exist for theta? So we have been told that the first letter of the names of all the children are different, and the first child that is writing a letter on the board, his name starts from theta. So how many possibilities are there for theta? So in the alphabets that we have been given, we have to look for the greatest alphabet, and that is T over here. So that means to the right of T, we should have all the alphabets that are greater than T. But when we go to the right of T, we can see that we have R. So we have to find all those letters which are bigger than T. So if I put U over here, then to the left of U, I should have all those letters that come before U. So yes, U can be the letter that can be put over here. It can be the first letter that can be written on the board. Then V also will satisfy, because all these letters that will be to the left of V, they will come before V. So even V satisfied. Then W also satisfies, X satisfies, Y satisfies, Z satisfies. No other letter will satisfy the given rules. So how many possibilities do we have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. There can be 6 letters. There are 6 possibilities for theta. Either U, V, W, X, Y, Z. Any of these can be the first letter to be written on the board. And then all the letters, all these remaining letters, these 5, they can come to the left of these letters. Because we always have to compare every letter with the first letter that was written on the board. So there will be only 6 such letters that will satisfy all the given conditions over here. Option A will be the correct answer to this question. So this was quite logical, but it was not very tough to find out the answer. So I hope the explanation was clear to you. If there's a doubt, please ask again. Thank you.